Greetings, friends, and welcome to Mark's Vinyl Collection. I'm not sure what episode number this is. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so welcome all. I think it was long overdue for me to do another video for the VC people out there. The last time I did one, I took a look at my David Bowie 7-inch collection that I had. But today I'm going to do what's called a recent vinyl finds collection video. So without any more hesitation and delay, let's get to some of the stuff that I've picked up recently. Let me just put this over here, so I have some space here. Sorry, I probably should have did this before I started, but there we go. We're ready to go. Okay, so let's start off. And by the way, these are all things that I have picked up in the last month or so. Mail is being crazy over here in Canada. There's weeks and weeks where you get nothing. And then all of a sudden, I started getting flooded with stuff that came in, which can't complain. So let's go through it. So the first thing that I picked up recently is this 45 David Bowie Drive-In Saturday Night backed with Round and Round. I'll take this out of the shrink here, or the sleeve. There you go. This is a 1983 European reissue. There was a single, the single was part of a collection, as you can see there, called the Lifetimes series of singles. They sound great. I listened to them. I picked this up from a person who had a collection of these, and they were in really fantastic shape. Actually, to be honest with you, when I put them on, they looked like they had been unplayed, if you can believe that. So always thankful when I can find a collection like this. Sorry, you know what, I'll just put that over here and I'll deal with that after. Next up is another one from that collection. Here you have Knock on Wood backed with Panic in Detroit in the same series. Same deal. It's the black sort of version. It's not the orange RCA ones like you're usually probably used to seeing. So this indicates obviously too that it's a later edition. All the orange sort of labeled stuff was in the 70s. Okay, so I'm just going to refer to my Discogs notes that I have here for all my collection. It's a very handy dandy thing to have. I'm sure you all are aware of that. And this next one I haven't put in yet, but I know enough about it to talk about it. So this came in as well. This is my original year first pressing Rolling Stone Sticky Fingers. I believe, what year is this? Well, I'm not very good on Rolling Stone's years as far as dates. Yes, this has the zipper. Then this is known for being those records that screw up all records that are surrounding it because of that zipper. There you go. You have the famous underwear shot there. It does come with the original inner sleeve with it. And there's the label. This is, it came out in, and it doesn't have the year on it, of course. Well, obviously it's a 70s record. I feel like a fool not knowing what year this album came out on. But all I can say is that it's a US pressing and it sounds very, very good. I got a chance to listen to it the other night. And yeah, sounds good. Very happy to have this in my collection. So I'll move that over here. And now we can get on to stuff that I can talk about with a little bit more detail for you. Next up is a very, very, very interesting selection that I got. And I have to thank Patrick, the vinyl archivist, for making me aware of this. This is Iron Maiden's Somewhere in Time. Now, this is not just a Canadian pressing or whatever. If you take a look in the back, there's something very different about this one. As you can see here, the top. I don't think it'll zoom in with my crappy camera. This is on Gala Records out of Russia. Yes, it's a Russian pressing, and you can see at the bottom where my finger is there, right here. It says DMM mastering, which means direct metal mastering. Like I said, this is a Russian pressing of the album. It's laminated, the cover, which is something that the other versions, including the Canadian, did not have. It was just a regular sort of material, cardboard. There's the center label for it, for Gala Records. Now, what's so fantastic about this pressing? Why would I get this one as opposed to getting a standard Canadian one? Well, as Patrick explained, and if you saw his video on his channel, Gala Records worked out a deal with EMI to acquire their stampers, the UK stampers that they had for these records, and they used those metal parts to press these records. So in essence, you are getting a UK quality recording and mastering job and lacquer job, but you get this record for considerably less, as it is coming from Russia, in terms of how much you pay for the actual album. Sure, shipping is going to be a little bit of an issue, but it would have still cost me a lot more to get a UK pressing of this record than it did getting the Russian one, and it sounds really, really, really good. Yeah, I mean, the dead wax is the dead giveaway that it is a UK pressing, because if you check into dead wax, it has the same matrix numbers, and in the etchings, it has also the "It Were So Loud" bit put in on side A, and on side B it says "Even Quiet Bits Were Loud," which is the hand etching on side B, and Sterling Sound DMM is also put in on it. So those are all the indicators to let you know, pardon me, that this is a UK pressing. But I believe it's not the actual 80s one. No, I could be wrong though. I think it is the actual first. Yeah, I think it is the first one. I'm thinking of another one, because there's a later Maiden album that Gala also did that I believe was a later 90s reissue that they used the stampers from. But that's a different album altogether. So, but yeah, but that one, if you can find it online, it's a great album. Fantastic sounding, and you even get a really nice jacket. That jacket is really nicely done. Okay, so on to the next one. This came in recently too, Captain Beyond. I've been hearing about this record from everybody in the VC. Ron Bowdry, Patrick, the Vinyl Archivist. Lots of people have been talking about this. Anthony as well. AGK Vinyl Life has been talking about this record. And I know those guys have the US first pressing, and Ron's been going on and on about the Japanese first pressing, which he says is fantastic, which I'm sure he's correct. This is a 1972 first pressing Canadian version. You can tell by the album cover it's different than the US one. The US one has a lenticular cover. This is on Capricorn Records, as is all the versions. That they're all on Capricorn. I'm very sure of that. There you go. The record is in excellent condition, which is one of the reasons why I decided to go down this route. And the other thing too, I'll be honest, I had not heard this album before. I know people are surprised to hear that. I have not heard this record before, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to drop much more money for this without knowing if I would actually like it or not. Now, having heard it, I really, really love this record. It's fantastic, and I think I will go down that road of buying a maybe a US one. Probably a US one for sure, as it's probably a bit easier to get than the Japanese ones. But of interest, this exact pressing is available on Discogs right now for an incredible $154.22, which I did not pay for this, not even close. So either Ron's information and Patrick's about, this being a fantastic record and go out and get it has hit people's ears, and sellers are jacking the prices now. If that's the case, I'm so happy I got this now. But it's a great record. Captain Beyond debut, I believe. Go and get it. Another record that came in, and this is a record that I have been waiting to get. I've been searching everywhere for it, and I could never find it for a reasonable price, if I could even find it. But I finally got a copy. Is Black Sabbath's Dehumanizer. This is the 2019, pardon me, US reissue, the deluxe edition 2 record vinyl that Rhino Records did. Absolutely incredible record. It is probably one of my favorite Dio era albums that he did. Easily in my top 20 records of all time. Love this album. There you go. Came in these great poly-lined sleeves. I think maybe these record labels are starting to listen to me screaming and bitching about people releasing records in paper sleeves that are just crap. This is record 1, which is the actual album. Fantastic stuff. I really like the way they did the labels on this. I'll just show you the one. There's no point in showing you the other side. It's pretty much the exact same thing. But I'll tell you what's on it if you didn't catch it on the back. Side 1, well, the first couple sides, side 1 and 2, is the album proper, Computer God, After All, TV Crimes, Letters from Earth, Master of Insanity. Side 2 is Time Machine, Sins of the Father, Too Late I, and Buried Alive. The extra album has Master of Insanity single edit, Letters from Earth B-side version, Time Machine Wayne World version, and Children of the Sea live from 1992. Side 4 has Die Young, TV Crimes, Master of Insanity, After All, and Neon Nights, all live from 1992. Some of them were actually previously unreleased live stuff, so what a great record to get. And those bonus live tracks are always good because Mr. Ronnie James Dio is fantastic live, as you all know. And I'm going to put this over here because I don't want to, I don't want to start dropping heavy stuff on my keyboard. I don't want to get my keys punctured or squashed on my keyboard. Anyways, on to the next record. Let me just prep my information. Of course, they gave me the wrong one. I didn't ask for that. I asked for this one. Thank you. Okay, now, as you guys all know, I'm a guy who loves making records, producing records, mixing records, and a band that has done fantastic sounding records and just are a fantastic band altogether is Steely Dan. And I have got myself a copy of Steely Dan Gold. This is the single album version. I believe there's a double version of this as well. Just take that out of the sleeve. Fantastic cover. In good condition. We have the promo hole, or the end of the line, end of the run kind of hole. This is not a promo copy, so it must mean that it's just the end of the pressing run of this. This is a 1982 Canadian pressing of the record. It has songs like Hey 19, Green Earrings, Deacon Blues, Chain Lightning, FM Black Cow, love that song, King of the World, and Babylon Sisters on here. The lacquers were cut on master disc, which is always a good thing, and it was mastered by Mr. Robert Ludwig, so you know that's going to sound good. And let me tell you, friends, I put this on the turntable, and it was heaven for my ears, I have to say. Just a fantastic sounding record. I mean, older records sound really good to begin with. Older records sound really good to begin with, but when you put them in the hands of Robert Ludwig to master them, you know, and everybody in the VC keeps talking about, you know, Kevin Gray, but you know what? Let's not forget about the people who actually made records that we cared about and where all these people like Kevin Gray came from, and that is the ingenious work of Mr. Robert Ludwig. Sorry, the glare from outside. Can you believe we actually have sun today here in Canada? So we're getting a bit of a glare in here. So yeah, Steely Dan Gold single album version sounds really primo. If you love great sounding records, and if you like that kind of, they call it yacht rock, I'd kind of just consider it just rock music or fusion rock if you want to be a little bit more exact. Okay, so next record. Now here's a record that I saw when I went to pick up my curbside pickup of some of these records, like the Steely Dan one. I saw this record on the gentleman who owns the store, Rick, at Rick's Recollections in Mississauga. He had this on his recently acquired list, and I asked him if he still had it. He said yes, so I had to snatch it. I'm a big fan of Alice Cooper, and this album is not the easiest one to find in the wild, so I was surprised to get this, which is Raise Your Fist and Yell. Alice Cooper. This is the 1987 U.S. first pressing. Very 80s sounding. The production is wow. Lots of reverb, lots of gigantic sounding snare drums and stuff like that on here. But of course, Mr. Cooper sounds fine. Well, is in fine form. Songs like Freedom, Lock Me Up, great songs. Prince of Darkness, great stuff. And this is produced by Mr. Michael Wagner, who is known for doing a lot of these huge, metal rock records, Skid Row, Slave to the Grind. The first Skid Row record as well. He's also done a lot of Dokken. He's done a lot of, all those kinds of albums in the 80s. Michael Wagner had his hand all over those records. And he has his hands all over this one as well. This was mastered at Precision Lacquering, and it was mastered by Mr. Stephen Markison, who is a great, great mastering engineer. For all you Yes fans, he was the one who mastered Big Generator. Great record, great sounding record. So there again, sometimes you gotta watch that when you get some of these records, because sometimes they're not those kind of versions. They could be different versions of it. Lacquers cut by different people, and they don't sound as good. So, but if you get the Stephen Markison version, you'll probably get the best version of this, I believe. There's the MCA labels that come with it. Oops, that come with this. Almost dropped it. There you go. This was in excellent condition. That's the one thing if you order from Rick's Recollections. He always, always, always has his records in tip-top form. I don't believe he actually goes and gets crappy records, so you can be confident in ordering from him when it comes to that. Okay, so down to the last couple. I'm a huge David Bowie fan. The last two here are David Bowie related again. I don't collect 12-inch singles very much. I have a few from Marillion, and I have a couple of King Crimson 12-inch. Not big on 12-inch singles, but I couldn't resist this one. I got a great deal on it. This is David Bowie's 12-inch single for Day In, Day Out. What a great shape. This sleeve is in amazing condition. As you can see, Day In, Day Out, and backed with Julie. This is a 1987 45 RPM Canadian pressing. Side A has Day In, Day Out, the extended dance mix. Side B has Day In, Day Out, extended dub mix, and Julie. It is manufactured by Capitol Records. And yeah, I think that's all that they have as far as extra additional information for this. Take it out here. It is on this standard sort of EMI label that they had at this time, EMI America. Is there any kind of extra information I can see here? Nothing really to speak of. Huge dead wax on this side, if you noticed that. Look at the size of that dead wax, holy smokes. Okay, but that's what you kind of like about 12-inch singles sometimes, is because they have so much space to work with. The sound of these 12-inch singles are always brilliant because you have so much space to make really nice grooves in the vinyl. Okay, now we're on to the last one. So thank you for sticking around if you're here for this long. Listening. And this one, let me just make sure I get the info here. There we go. This one is another David Bowie album, and I have been one of these people who has been focusing on a certain end of David Bowie's stuff, and that is compilation records and greatest hits records that he has. A lot of people sometimes focus on a specific record, or they focus on a specific era of his period. I like to focus on his compilations because you get the best of everything on it. This is David Bowie's 1984 Canadian pressing compilation, Fame and Fashion. David Bowie's all-time greatest hits. As you can see in the top corner, this is a digitally remastered, but I know that makes people roll their eyes sometimes. But I'll tell you something, it doesn't sound as bad as you might think. And look at that selection of songs. Space Oddity, Changes, Starman, 1984, Young Americans, Fame, Golden Years, TVC 15, Heroes, DJ Fashion, and Ashes to Ashes. great selection. I mean, of songs, you know. And like I said, it doesn't sound bad. I've listened to this very much. Yes, I'm like you other guys out there, audiophile people. I prefer analog cut stuff, of course, but sometimes we can't have what we want all the time. And this is on the black RCA Victor label. And like I said, it sounds fantastic. I mean, I listened to it quite a few times. I've listened to it while I was down in my man cave working on things. Amazing stuff. You know, David Bowie rarely makes bad music, in my opinion. You know, so what can you say? I would suggest getting this. Of course, there are better the greatest hits records out there, I believe. You know, there's so many of them. I mean, I just off the top of my head, I can't really think of the titles of them. But if you give me a second here, I could probably find you a couple of good examples of ones that might be better to get if you're not into the whole digital end of things. Let's see. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. I believe it's early in my list anyways here, so. Well, yeah, excuse me. Well, you have like, you know, Bowie Now, which was like a comp of his 2 records, Heroes and Low. There was another one that I just got recently that was like a sort of Japanese release of it. Well, whatever. I'm not going to waste your time here trying to have me find stuff on here. But rest assured, if you really go and look online, there are a ton of David Bowie greatest hits albums. And a lot of them are from a time period when they only had, you know, like all analog sources to take from. So if you search, you'll find them. Okay, so that's it for my recent video finds. Recent vinyl finds. I hope you enjoyed it. And until I have my next batch of vinyl, that's it for now. And I'll talk to you all later. So this is Mark Anthony K saying be safe out there, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye for now.